One time this guy DM'd me like videos of him like f***ing off and ejaculating, and I screen recorded it, and I found his family online, and I said, hey Jose, like just wanted to let you know that I've emailed Anna and Maria and like whatever, and I was like, and just so you know, like I have called cybersecurity. That's not a real thing. It really isn't. Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Ansley. Welcome back to the Boredwalk podcast, and these are my coworkers Tess and Gabe. Today, we have a special treat for those of you who like to take out your pent-up rage on stupid people. We're going to be reading some of our hate comments. Woo! Would anyone like to go first?
I'll read this comment from Paul Mannix.
Ooh, Paul Mannix.
Mm-hmm. We're going to call them out. We're going to say their names.
They put it out there.
Yeah.
On their own volition.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody asked them to.
I'm going to assume Paul Mannix is a maniac.
Promiscuity is the death knell for society. Every woman can sleep with hundreds of men in a lifetime. The vast majority of men get about 4. You lose the ability to bond. You lose the ability to have family. You lose the ability to be worthwhile. And Paul's really just telling us that he has no game and doesn't get laid. That's all that we've learned from this.
I was gonna say, sounds like Paul gets no penetration.
Yeah. I also like you lose the ability to have family. Like what? My family's gonna abandon me because
they're like,
I
your body
around?
counts over 10? Here's for the streets.
No, thank you. I'm like, why do they, first of all, even need to know that? What do you mean? I lose the ability
is
for
everybody
family.
having like family get-togethers where they just sit there and digress?
Is that what we were supposed to do at reunions?
Yeah,
We're
every
supposed to be
family
like-
dinner, you're like, so how many people have you slept with recently?
Yeah. You're like, have your name, and then below it, it's just your
body
number.
count.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. No, I think it's really interesting, this take that like, well, women can have sex more than I can, so that means it's bad. Brother.
Sounds jealous.
Yeah.
First
Sounds
of
like
all,
you're envious of us.
Why? That doesn't make sense. Like, why would women be able to have more sex than men? Men can... Look, men do a lot of bad things sexually, and I feel like they probably do more than women without consent because men are terrible people.
True. You know, there's plenty of men who like hook up with tons of women, and there's also plenty of women who are out there not getting laid. So like, it's really not just like
my guess
blanket
is that Paul Mannix met a girl and he was like, but you sleep with everyone. She's like, still not you. And for him, that means, this is the death knell of society, which is, I'll give it to you, Polly boy, a very creative way to start a sentence. And I liked it.
Yeah, you lose your ability to be worthwhile. You're worthwhile even if you
That's
sleep
so interesting.
with thousands of people.
I've also heard that like women are only as worthwhile as we are sexually driven. Like we're only useful for how much we can provide for the man.
Yeah, it's really a double standard, and it's like, it's if you're sleeping with me, great. But if you're sleeping with other people, bad. And this is the other thing that makes me so upset. I'm like, okay, so let's say a woman sleeps with 10, like a very, not a big deal number, but I feel like this will be like, double digits. Let's say she sleeps with 10 men, each one time, and they're like, she's like loose and easy and bad and like all this shit. I'm like, okay, but then if she sleeps with one man 10 times, it's like her body's chill.
Yeah.
Like it's literally the same thing.
As if vaginas aren't literally the strongest muscle in a body.
We literally push out humans.
And they go back to normal for the most part.
ish.
I actually don't know that.
I think it's not all the way,
You
can't
but
hold
it
our pee as well.
is-
Yeah.
We're still very impressive, and you're jealous.
Speaking of men who just clearly don't understand women, Denial Fisek. I don't know if that's how you'd say his name, but it is
Denial
Danial.
for sex?
Ooh,
Roasted. Gabe just roasted you, dude. I have never spoken to a female like this, ever. In my 37 years of employment, I've never seen a male coworker speak to a female like this. Few thoughts off the bat. First, the use of the word female tells us pretty much a lot we need to know about this guy.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that.
Number 2, I love when people say, oh, well, I'm not hungry, so world hunger must not exist. Yeah, I assure you these aren't like scenarios that women are just making up just to piss off men. Like we're making them into jokes to make fun of you because you piss us off when you do these things. This was left on our speaking to men, if women spoke to men in professional events, like they spoke to us. And this is his response to that. because I guess we're talking about Gabe's wife and how he must have stolen the idea from her and blah, blah, blah. And of course, this would just never happen in the real world. This is totally fictitious.
I don't steal ideas from my wife.
But he does have one, so he is
I
a
do
useful
have
man.
One.
That you know of.
I don't know. It just
a
makes me
fake
laugh
ring.
when one person's experience they think can really like shape their opinion for every single experience they have.
This was a comment on a Guess Who Said That video.
If you don't know what a Guess Who Said That video is, we take a real comment that is left on our videos and respond to it. And it's always, well, usually MEN, right?
In this Guess Who Said That video, there was a comment that was left by not a person, but a company, which I guess technically companies are people, right?
We all know.
Yeah, classic Republicans. Northern Environmental Solutions left the comment, "This is what's wrong with feminism. It started off about equality, but now it's about men hating." No.
Just no.
Also, I know who runs this company. It's a man. But when you look at this, it's men who are offended by the things that they're getting called out for doing. And they're like, ooh, that like hit a little too close, and I don't want to acknowledge that. So as a way of doing this, they say, well, this is clearly just an attack. This is just an excuse for women to attack men because, you know what? We didn't deserve that. We haven't done anything bad in the history of mankind.
Well, and it's a very funny comment to put on a Guess Who Said That video because literally we are making fun of a person who was mean to us first.
Yeah. It's the same idea of all these people who try to act tough and manly and all this, bravado and machismo and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, when you decide, hey, you know what? I'm just going to volley this right back into your side of the court, you 100% of the time get so triggered and upset. And you're like, oh, how dare you say that to me? Mm-hmm. That is so mean. And it's like, you're an adult man. Grow a pair, get off the internet.
I'll give you a hint. Like, if you feel convicted by the things we're saying, you are the target audience. There are men who watch our videos who do not take the things we say poorly because they are not the people we're speaking to. If you feel convicted, that's on you.
I'm a dude in these videos. I'm also the voices of Guess Who Said That. Spoiler alert.
Because he believes it all.
And every time I read it, I'm like, what? Who would say this? Because it's so ridiculous and idiotic that somebody would like, you know what? I'm going to post this comment on the internet with my face and my name or my company information.
All right, my next one is from Matt Chu. Nobody respects you, California. Hell, I'm a Californian, and I can't respect our demon-worshipping, greedy, self-absorbed greaseball of a governor. Our voters 65 to 70% without any common sense. I think this was in response to we had a video that was Denmark and Canada fighting over California. Anytime you bring up California in a video, people get weirdly triggered by that, and they'll be like, California's not even that good. We've done videos that are kind of baiting those people, but this video is straight up like a thing that's happening in the news.
Right. It's also like kind of crazy to look at somebody write this and you're like, okay, cool. Well, let's look at California. We have the 4th largest GDP. We have the most progressive rights for tenants, employees, women. Like you look across the board and it is much better than, let's say, Oklahoma, which is like 49th out of 50 states in education. But when people are like, oh, California, Marxist, communist, socialist, it's like, call us whatever you want, but at the end of the day, like the programs and the benefits and just the living situation of like, I can go to the mountain and get snow, I can go to the ocean and get water, I can go to the desert, like all these things I have in this state because the state is great.
Okay, this comment comes from Brian Johnson. Why I don't work with women. It's never about actual work with them. Plus, blue-collar trades not only don't have time for this kind of shit, actually having to do something weeds most of it, not all, out. This comment was left on our DEI hires video, in which the skit is that Gabe is no longer our HR personnel because I, with my degree in ketamine, are going to be the new HR
And also
director.
nepotism.
Nepo baby. Mm-hmm. And also we don't need a man because he's a DEI hire. He's the only man in the company. Why would we need him?
Yeah.
Why I don't work with women. Well, Good for them.
Well, and
Everyone's
like,
dodging
we
a
don't
bullet.
have time for that for blue collar jobs. There's plenty of women in blue collar jobs.
One of my favorite influencers for a while was this girl who would wear like a pink hard hat, and she literally ran like construction work sites, and like she was known as like the bitch, but like not in a bad way, but like that's the bitch, you know. And men in the comments were like, I would never, and the men on her job site were like, she would never let you, you dumb idiot.
So the other comment that I have from a Bill Bailey was left on a Girls Will Be Girls video that we did. And the comment that he had was, if you don't want to be looked at, don't go around with your body displayed like a streetwalker.
The underlying message of these types of comments is always like, don't go outside at all. Like,
Yeah.
if you are seen and perceived as a woman, well, then you were asking for it.
I'm not gonna lie, like I've gotten catcalled in sweats, I've gotten catcalled in a dress, I've gotten catcalled in literally anything under the sun. It does not matter what we wear. So that by that rhetoric, like we literally just shouldn't exist. We shouldn't be outside unless it is to serve the man. This reminds me of when I was in church camp growing up, and I remember I wore short shorts because it was summer camp, and one of the guys was like, Ansley, why are you wearing those shorts? Like a counselor and a dad, might I add, was like, why would you be wearing those shorts? I was like, Carl, why are you looking at my ass?
I'm looking out.
I'm like, you're looking at something? Like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
And there's
I
nothing we
hate
can do.
that. When adult men are like, oh, she shouldn't be wearing that because of what men are thinking. I'm like, because of what you are thinking, you creep.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you shouldn't wear that. We have men in the house. Why are those men in the house?
Have you heard of like dads who are like that with their daughters? They're like, oh, my daughter like can't wear certain things around me because I'm a man. I'm like, ew,
What is it, Mike
ew,
Pence?
ew, yucky.
Yeah, that is very gross that anyone who would ever have a comment as a father to be like, I can't have this young girl wearing this clothing. And it's like, maybe you should go get help, you know?
Yeah.
Just like go get some therapy.
Like,
For
even
me,
dogs
ew.
can have steak put in front of them, and if you say no, they'll leave it. And I don't know why people with opposable thumbs and a fully developed frontal lobe seem to have a really hard time understanding that women don't wear clothing because we want to be leered at. We wear clothing because we literally have to. And it doesn't matter what we wear. A lot of you are pervs anyway. There's no winning. Yeah.
Also, like, what is a streetwalker?
Something low-level men do to like insult women, and like I've heard men say this
Insult
before.
sex workers.
Yeah, insult sex workers by saying.
Also, I just want to point out that if these men are really macho men, tough guys, and like free speech, absolutists, all this bullshit, then say what you really mean and say it with your chest. Show everyone who you are by saying the thing that you really mean. And then we'll send it to, your family. And let them
I've
see
done
it.
that before. One time this guy DM'd me like videos of him like jerking off and ejaculating, and I screen recorded it, and I found his family online, and I said, hey Jose, like just wanted to let you know that I've emailed Anna and Maria and like whatever, and I was like, and just so you know, like I have called cybersecurity. That's not a real thing. It really isn't. But he like blocked me, and I was like
Yeah.
like, we are gonna find you, and it will be fun for us.
Especially now.
I promise you.
I'm just
And look at that.
can't
You don't
hide.
even have to leave your house and you get harassed by men. So it's like,
Yeah.
Literally, there's no winning.
My comment, short and sweet, from Yeet the Riz. At least their cats think they're funny. And I would just like to let the record show that my cat does not think I'm funny. So.
My cat actually can't get far enough away from me when I do my stand-up set to her. So.
It's another version of You're Gonna Die Alone with Your Cats. What a dream.
mm-hmm.
Why would I not want to die alone with my cats?
My-
Cats are lovely.
My cat scratched me because I'm a bitch, but she still doesn't say that I was asking for it.
Yeah. Because I know I was.
My last comment comes from Stibaroo, and it was left on the video where we made the 5 things we did at work video, essentially mocking Elon Musk because he sent out, tweeted that federal workers needed to respond to an email of 5 productive things they did in the work week. And what makes me laugh about this comment, well, let me just read it, is I'm a Democrat, but this is giving weird, creepy hall monitor vibes, which is why the MAGA peeps were so annoyed with the left to begin with. Right over their heads. We didn't invent this. We are showing you how crazy that is. You are saying this is very hall monitor vibes. Uh-huh. You're getting there. You're really, really close. You're almost there. It's like, we didn't put that out there. We're literally showing you why that is insanity. People can't read and they lack critical thinking.
No,
Love to see it.
it's really just so much of everything on the internet is people just saying it when it's like, oh, if you just like thought for, I don't know, 5 more seconds, maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Also, side note, why would we care if MAGA is annoyed with us? We'll give you a hint. We fucking hate MAGA. Okay, I feel that we have roasted enough of those folk for the day. Sorry to my mom if you're seeing this. I know I swore a lot. We're going to read a review. This review was left by Dana Rogers, and it is on our Women's Rise and Despair t-shirt. I've shopped for my teens and I from Boredwalk these last few years. These items hold up and wear well over time. Having a showstopper message on my shirt makes others laugh and releases stress. Unique therapy found in a shirt. All great quality, but wish the shirts were a bit longer as I'm a taller girl. I would purchase again. I chose this for a few reasons. One, it talks to you about the quality of the shirts. And it also helps you understand that I feel like they go a step further than just your wardrobe. Like, it can help you connect. It can help you build community. It can also help you really relieve that stress. But also, because we have a resident tall girl in our midst who wears the shirts all the time.
Hi, I'm tall.
Hi, I'm very tall. Unnaturally, some may say. No, I'm very tall. I'm very tall with a long torso. I actually remember when I first started working here and I was asked, like, what's your shirt size? Because of how we wear all the shirts. I was like, I need to wear men's t-shirts because, like, I can't wear women's t-shirts ever. And I was told that it wouldn't be a problem. And I have found that it's not a problem. I feel like the shirts are all, like, especially, I guess I don't know what this woman's size is, but I feel like for me, if I'm like in the medium or large range for like a woman's tee, it fits great in terms of length, and a men's small is like very long on me. So I'm not to say maybe you're a torso girly and that is a struggle. It is hard to be a tall woman finding clothes. It's a nightmare.
So perhaps try either sizing up, but there's definitely a size that fits any and all people who want to wear a Boardwalk t-shirt.
Yeah, and I think also a thing that some people don't know is, like, if you need a specific size that's not on the website, you can always contact the customer support team and they will figure it out for you. Like, we'll find a shirt that works for you.
Because we print all the shirts here, right?
Yeah, we print them all here, so we can order special sizes just because it's not on the website. Another
important comment in that review was how well the shirts age in terms of the message. And it's not like, oh, here's this, sarcastic tee, and it kind of like ages out because, like, oh, it wasn't really like politically, correct, or like it kind of was degrading this way. I have not seen a shirt so far working here that, like, on the website or just like wearing myself, where I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I could imagine somebody wearing that in 2 years or 3 years. Like, it's just like an evergreen message, and it's like, fascists are bad, or like I would rather be. I had a shirt on earlier, filled with donuts, right? And I love donuts, so it's like there will never be a time when that will not be true for me. So it's like the statements on the shirts are, I believe, an evergreen piece of content.
We are now going to play a fun little game where we ask each other a question from the Delve decks. So this question is from the venting deck, and I think I'm going to pick one of the harder ones.
Yay, hard vent.
Hard vent.
Should we all go hard?
Yeah.
All right.
What do you wish you'd known sooner?
I wish I had confidently known what I wanted in life sooner. I think it took me a while to get there. I had a lot of self-doubt when I was younger, and I really ended up on a incorrect career path for me because of that. Yeah. And then I was able to self-reflect and like turn things around and make myself happier in the end. But I wish that I had, I guess that's more like the confidence. I don't know. Did that answer that question?
Yeah. What do you wish you had known sooner?
Yeah. I wish I had known I wish I had known what I wanted confidently, because I think I've always known, like, in terms of career, in terms of like what I love, what I'm passionate about. I think I've always known that. I just wasn't confident in that because, like, I was told that it was unreasonable.
Yeah. I totally resonate with that. But I would also say it's okay to say no. You know, like if somebody asks you to do something, and like I'm a people pleaser in the sense of like I'm always willing to help someone with something or like work on stuff. But, leaving school and then going to work at different companies and then, in the various positions I've had, I've learned that it's like, yeah, you know what, for my own mental health, well-being, work-life balance, like it is totally fine to say no and like set a boundary. And if the people on the other end are like, we're not comfortable with that, and then you're like, okay, well then this obviously isn't a good place that I want to either associate myself with, work with, hang out, whatever. So yeah, saying no is okay.
The one that came to my mind is I wish I understood my neurodivergence younger. I did not get diagnosed with OCD or ADHD until well into my 25th year of life. And it has a way of making you experience a self-doubt that is so hard to understand. And like the way that OCD works and wraps itself around everything that you find important, like it made me feel so insane for so long. And like, I'm crazy, I'm manipulative, I'm awful, I'm evil. And then like, come to find out that's the disorder, and it had been working actively against me my entire life. And I just wish that I had like known that it was there, because then like I, one, could have gotten therapy, two, could have identified like what was real, and like, I can say things out loud now and they won't happen. I'm not responsible for massacres or genocides or deaths just because I thought it. You know what I mean? It has a really hard way of making you crazy, and I just wish I had access to those resources or like knew that about myself way younger. I feel like I would have gotten a lot further a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think that's a great one as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you wish you didn't like?
Oh, McDonald's.
Okay,
I
that's a good
love
one.
fast food. I really, really love like a greasy French fry and a really bad cheeseburger. And I wish I didn't, because I want to be like a healthy queen. I want to like take care of myself and give myself the nutrients. But I love grease, and I wish that I didn't. And I wish I didn't love bacon as much as I do. Like, I am just a meat eater, which isn't bad. But I don't like the good meat.
I wish I didn't like people's approval so much. I'm so desperate for it. It's so desperate. It's like the number one thing that I have to get over. I love when people like me. I desperately want everyone to like me. And it's like beyond just like, oh, I'm like a people pleaser. It's like I like desperate. Like I think I would imagine everyone here feels that way, since we're all performers.
Please validate me.
I know, but it's such like, I'm like, I need everyone to like me. I need it. And I wish I just didn't care, because that sounds nice. That sounds a
peaceful.
lot easier.
I love sweets. Sweets are great. And it's enough where I'm like, oh, wait, I'll have like a few, I don't know, like it's dumb. And like, I feel like a lot of people have this kind of thing where like, oh, like I should, not indulging, in stuff, but like, I feel like having more than maybe they should. And it's like, great, I can have just one. And that's what I should, but I hate the fact that like, I don't know, I guess like it's more of just like things in general where it's like, I want more of that, and then having the restraint to be like, okay, enough's enough, like, I don't know, does that make sense?
I feel like it's, yeah, that's kind of where I was trying to think at first, and then I was like, I don't know if I struggle with that a ton, which I feel like maybe you feel that way as well.
If anything, because I also think too, it's like there's a whole obviously internal process that happens with any of the things that we've talked about, where you're like, this is worse than it is, and someone's like, it's actually not that bad. In reality, it's probably not a big deal, but in my own mind, I'm like, oh, well, the ADHD like really like drives on it, and like some anxiety and stress or whatever. And then I'm just obviously the constant like, oh, well, I don't want to be a problem or a nuisance for other people. So then I got to make, it's like, it all comes together. And so like, yeah, probably at the end of the day, it's like, it's not really that big of a deal. But then for yourself, you're like, it's the biggest problem.
Everything feels so much bigger in our own heads. And like, it is that big. Like,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the one thing I learned with OCD therapy is like, you have to let it be big and you have to acknowledge it for a second. And then that's the way that I can move past and through it. But like, oh my God, does it feel overwhelming?
Yeah. So I think there's a good segue into this question.
Ooh. Ooh, from the Joy Deck.
Yes. What about the today version of you would impress the 10 years ago version of you?
I think 16-year-old me was really hell-bent on getting out of Reno and making sure that I committed to this career. And I think she would be really proud of the fact that I have a job where it is fully creative and I am in commercials and I am auditioning, and like I would say that I have a fan base, which is really cool. And I just think that she would be very proud of the fact that we persevered and continued, but also I have to thank her because her delusion got us here. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think she'd be really impressed that we, stuck it out. I don't think she'd be surprised, but I think she would also be like, "Fuck yeah."
I think, yeah, I'd probably be like, oh, wow, I like it would be similar stuff. It would be like, oh, you actually decided to do that. I think I would be, yeah, probably impressed and surprised because at that time, like, I don't know. I don't know what I thought I was going to do. Here's just the dark truth. I had no intention to live past 30, and I did it. So...
Yay!
I think similar to what you guys have touched on is looking back, like I don't think I really like started my comedy acting career because it always been something that was underneath. Like I was doing like my main job is I'm working in business or I'm working in tech or doing it, and that's like full-time 9 to 5 plus hours after work or the weekend or whatever. And if I had like a spur of creativity or energy to do something, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to write this sketch, I'm going to film it, and I'll do it either with myself or with other friends. And like that was kind of like cover the fix I needed, you know? And it probably wasn't until my mid-20s is when I started getting into improv and sketch and doing more film shorts where I was like, oh, wow, I can do this more, to the point where now it's become great. I don't have to do the other things to fund my passion and my creativity. Now those all work within, and I'm like, great, I can do this full time, where I'm able to do commentary, comedy, shows, all this stuff. And it's all just like kind of feeding itself in that cycle, as opposed to being like, well, I kind of do this thing on the side and I need a sustainable paycheck that is the 9 to 5 corporate hours or startup or whatever to fund the side projects if I want to do them. But now it's like, that is the thing.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I think being creatives, a lot of our life is very uncertain, and starving artist is a very, very prominent term for a reason. And I think anyone that sticks with it will attest that you just have to stick with it. And it's going to be hard and it's tough, but it's the most rewarding thing you could do, I think, for yourself, especially if this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think it's also good to, reflect on where you were, because I know that I'm always the type of person who I'm comparing myself to who I am literally in this moment. And I'm like, oh, like I should be doing better. I should be doing better. I should be doing better. And it's like, you can like look at yourself a year ago and be like, oh, a year ago I would be stoked to be where I am today. So why am I comparing myself to like this idealized version of myself?
So real. And that's pretty much...
That's where we are. And that's all of our lives.
On a good one, I guess. Like, stick with it. Follow your dreams. You have no idea what could come from them. And if you want to have opportunities to talk to your friends about all these very deep topics, you can order your Delve decks today at Boredwalk.com and get started having these fun convos. Until then, we will see you next week. We love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.